Yes, we are recording now.
Hello everyone, welcome again to our event AI Your Resilience Superpower. And I'm Priya Patra, lead Women Power Up Network. We have Cecilia Bochi, our Latin America lead. Cecilia, would you want to say hi to everyone?
Yeah, thank you, Priya. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for everyone from wherever you are. I am the lead of Latin America, and it's a pleasure to have this session again every month. Thank you, Priya.
Thank you, Cecilia, and everyone. Please say hello to each other and let us know from where you have joined in today. Use the Menti code 857
No, it's
87576114. Yes, Cecilia, you're saying something?
yes. I was sharing the code. I will share the code. Sorry.
All right. So please use the menti.com, the code 875761114, and let us know from where you have joined in today. Some housekeeping rules. We are all here to celebrate women leadership. And we are speaking on individual capacity. Our views expressed here do not anywhere represent the organization that we are working for. This meeting is been recorded, as you know already. And if you are uncomfortable in any way, please feel free to hop off the event. If not, you are welcome to join our celebration. And before we get started, we always talk a little about our community, what we have been up to, what is our mission, vision, values, and then we talk about what is coming up next. A little bit about our community. So we keep reminding ourselves that we are not a business, but a community with a purpose. We have lots of women joining our community, and in fact, it is increasing day by day. We have two groups, one on LinkedIn, one on Facebook, and we have around 935 women across the globe in those groups. Our vision is to empower everyone with the right support, skill to transform the future. And right now we are providing this platform to enhance our leadership qualities, be it be in part like a webinar that you will see today, be it be co-authoring articles, be it be leading those articles as a mentor. So these are all opportunities for mentoring our members as well as non-members. We truly believe that being good enough is simply amazing. You really do not need to be an expert to help each other. And when such good enough people come together, we truly power each other up. And that's why we say we power up. And definitely that will help us, everyone, to rise. So we say together we rise. And before we move on, let's join our hands together for our partners, and you see them on the screen. They are our supporters for 3 years now. Agile in Education, PMI Slovenia chapter. So we have two PMI chapters, and talks are on with a couple of more chapters as well. We have PMI Slovenia as of now. We have Buenos Aires, Argentina, and we have PMO officers, IAPM, Agnostic Agile Community, and Scrum Day London. Our technology partner is We Are Ready Now, and they're really they're really an organization which are creating platforms which are making us ready for the future. Pretty cool stuff they do, and Cecilia will put the link on the chat window. Please to visit their website, and you will see the cool things that they are doing with AR and VR. And since the beginning of this year, we have been talking about the power of one. Now, what is this power of one? Power of one is about communities, about people coming together towards a common goal. And we have been co-authoring collaborative articles on this theme. The theme of the year is AI and the leadership dimensions of the future. The theme of October collaborative article was to delve into the synergy between AI and resilient leadership. And we will speak more about it in the upcoming discussion. So far, we have co-authored around 8 articles, and the screenshots are there on the screen. Cecilia will put the link on the chat window, and you could go ahead and look at those articles and see what we have been researching on. And this is not one person writing an article, but it is about bringing in diverse view from all across the globe on a single theme or single topic. Our November article is also pretty interesting. It's about ethical leadership. Ethical leadership in the age of AI. And a huge shout out to our editorial team, and Cecilia is one of them, who diligently reviews our articles and ensure that it is up to the standard that we are looking at. So, Cecilia, pat yourself on the back. With this, Cecilia, I hand over the stage to you to introduce the moderator of this event, Jen.
Thank you, Priya. Yes, please let me introduce Jen, our moderator of the session. Jen is a dynamic and award-winning leader with a proven track record of driving transformative change within some of the world's largest and most successful technology and healthcare companies. As a global executive, she has delivered $1 billion in transformation portfolios and programs for some of the world's most prestigious organizations, such as Oracle, Teradata, United Health, Optum, Amgen, Elevance, Spirent, UCLA Extension, among many others. Wow. Shen possesses a unique blend of strategic vision and operational expertise. She has successfully built large, high-performing cross-functional enterprise (PMO, COE) teams to spread her critical strategic initiatives that enable organizations to achieve its strategic vision. Shen is also a sought-after international keynote speaker and recognized thought leader, inspiring audience with her insights on leadership, innovation, digital transformation, AI, and portfolio management. Her expertise is further underscored by the prestigious PMI Distinguished Contribution Award. Congratulations. And her role as the lead author of PMI Governance Practice Guides and Portfolio Management Standard. Currently serving as a Chief Transformation Officer, Shen continues to empower Fortune 500 company to achieve her strategic goals through executive consulting, coaching, and organizational development. Wow, congratulations, Shen. And let me take over to take the discussion forward. Thank you, Shen.
Yes, thank you, Cecilia, for that great introduction. I'm thrilled to be the mentor on this collaborative white paper that we'll be reviewing today, as well as your moderator. We have some great information to share all around the world. And then before I turn over to the panel to start introducing themselves, I just wanted to mention that I'm based in Los Angeles, but I'm originally from Taiwan. So I'll also be representing the Asia region today. And as Cecilia mentioned, my background is in transformation and PMO, as well as how do we utilize technology to really amplify and enable us to get to that next level in our leadership. And that's what we'll cover today as well. So with that, let me turn it over to the panel to introduce themselves. And if you could just mention where you're based and give us a brief introduction. Let's start with SKP. You have some great glasses on this morning or this evening. Please tell us where you're based and your background in representing 2 regions today.
All right, thank you, Jenny, for the introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm based in the United Kingdom, and it's afternoon here. With respect to what I do, I am the founder and executive director of the Pan-African Women Empowerment Network, an organization that seeks to empower women, African women, with the competence, confidence, and connections to lead and succeed in business. I'm also the founder of Tech Up Africa, an organization that provides 1,000 scholarships to young Africans every year to start a career in tech. And it's my pleasure to be here.
Great. Well, thank you so much, SKP. Let's turn over to Greg. If you could tell us where in North America you are. You're from a very interesting state. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jen. Yes, Greg Dubois. I'm from the state of Alaska. So uh, I border Canada and, of course, the we call the lower 48 the main body of the United States, and also representing Hawaii today, basically the North American area. I'm a geologist, and CEO of uh, a couple of companies that do environmental work. So we do a lot of remediation of contaminated sites in Alaska. Um, and so I'm really happy to be here. It's a great subject. I appreciate being offered to be on the panel today. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Greg. And then next we have Maru. Maru, you're very unique in representing Latin America, but you share 6 different certifications. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, yes. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm based in Mexico. I am a consultant. I am founder of Avanza, a consultancy company, and I love project management. I think it's an extraordinary way to be more productive, more happy, because if you are more, or if you could do more things in less time, it could be it represents a better life. I don't know, with time I would like to improve myself, and I think the project management, it's a great opportunity. And now with transformation technology and all these things, projects, programs, portfolio, agile, all these things are mixing together in order to obtain our goals. And for this reason, I would like to learn and share this knowledge. And thank you.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Maru. And then next we have Sarah. You're representing the Middle East region, and your focus is on Agile. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Thank you, Jan. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sarah, and I'm a principal agile coach at Bank Misr. I have a background with 17 years of experience in various sectors: banking, telecommunication, healthcare. So all of this shaped my passion to explore new technologies, particularly AI. How can it enhance the leadership and the resiliences in organization? So I'm excited to share my insights. How can AI leverage the challenges that we are facing, and how can it build a stronger community? And I'm looking forward to hear from you all.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you to all of the panelists as well. As you can see, we have a fantastic group of thought leaders from all around the world with varied but complementary backgrounds. And one commonality that I heard was that we all embrace technology, and we have all utilized great project leadership to get us to this level in our careers. And we wanted to share some of that knowledge with you. So let's go ahead and dive into our collaborative white paper today and start with how to reimagine the next pandemic. So we just came out of the COVID-19. And if we fast forward to 10 years from now, so 2035, how might that be different with utilizing, embracing AI as that enabler to get us to maybe avoiding the next pandemic? But first, I wanted to highlight something that is very important. We did explain this difference in our previous white paper that I was involved in. That was the August white paper on intra and entrepreneurial thinking and AI. We explained that there is a difference, and it's a very important and significant difference between generative AI, and that's been the buzzword now for the last year and a half or so, where we have ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Those are generative AI tools. They generate new content, text, graphics, even music. That is different than applied AI, and that's what we're going to focus on in this white paper. We won't have time to explain what the 7 patterns of applied AI are, But as you hear from the panelists explain the use cases and case studies in each of the regions, these are all instances of applied AI. And as I mentioned, the August white paper does explain what the 7 patterns of applied AI are. So if you want to refer to that one for more details on that. So let's go ahead and dive into the next pandemic. So imagine 10 years from now, it's 2035. And how might that be different with the use of AI and embracing and utilizing AI? And keep in mind that AI is not new. It's been around since the 1950s. And we've been embracing AI all along, even more than 10, 15 years ago. For example, Amazon had the ability to personalize products. If you shopped at Amazon, it would suggest, hey, you may like this product. Well, that's AI, for example. Banks had fraud detection. So all that to say is that AI is not new, but it has been accelerated. How has it been accelerated is that in the last 5 years, the pace of change has been accelerated by the pandemic, yes, but also by technology and our demand for things that are faster, better, cheaper, and elevating all of that. So the first thing that might be different in the next pandemic is detection. So if you remember during COVID-19, it took 5-6 months for the world to realize, yes, there's a pandemic, and yes, let's start to do something about it. With AI, imagine that all of the data can be quickly not only aggregated, but sifted through, analyzed, and then have a detection mechanism, an early warning indicator saying, hey, we think there's a pandemic. Let's start to do something about it before it's too late. So that's the first thing, is the detection. The second thing that was important in COVID-19 was contact tracing, but that was all very manual. If you remember, in the very early days, there were a lot of interviews, manually gathering data. Well, today we all have phones that transmit location information, contact information. What if AI could aggregate all of that very quickly and then provide that contact tracing so that we can actually contain the pandemic before it spreads? If you recall, with COVID-19, it took 5 to 6 months to detect and recognize that there was a pandemic happening. But then by that time, it was really too late. It had spread all around the world because we really didn't have the mechanism to detect and then also contain. The second thing is containment. So the third thing is the development of preventive measures, so vaccines. And I have worked for pharma companies and biotech companies, and we know that drug development actually takes a very long time, sometimes even decades, to identify, develop the drug, and then eventually manufacture and distribute it. Well, that time frame did get shortened with COVID-19. It took 2 years approximately to roll out the vaccines. What if it could take a matter of months, maybe 2 months, to actually develop the vaccine instead of the 2 years or so it took to develop and distribute? 2 months to actually identify the right vaccine mechanism, and then also to develop and distribute that using AI to really manage and target the risk and then distribute it accordingly, rather than a mass distribution, which took a long time to scale up and then also ultimately distribute. So that's how actually the next pandemic can be different, where early detection, containment, and then identification of the right drugs and preventive measures, and then ultimately managing the supply chain for those preventive measures. And that can contain the next pandemic so it doesn't spread all around the world, and then we have to spend the next few years recovering from that. Next, let's turn over to Greg. Can you tell us a little bit more about a key topic of this white paper, which is around resilient leadership and why it's so important now?
Thanks, Jen. Yes, resilient leadership is critical. It's basically the ability to adapt quickly and deal with change and adversity, challenges, and with AI and some of the things that are happening, the ability to adjust quickly to those things. So key components of resilient leadership includes adaptability, confidence, being resourceful, being effective. And I think the key part of the resiliency is also maintaining yourself, your physical well-being, your emotional well-being. So having emotional um, uh, leadership, emotional empathy for your team is a critical aspect of resilient leadership. And then even with all this adversity and challenges, it's having that optimism that you will see it through and the determination to see it through. And I think with AI, we have that data and information coming in and having the ability to adjust quickly and maintain all those key components is what really will help resilient leadership and push through to be more effective in our responses.
Great. Well, thank you, Greg. And I think one of the things that you mentioned is that resilient leadership is a personal skill that can be honed and developed. But why is that important too is the disruption that is happening. So as I mentioned, change and disruption and crisis is not a one-time only event. It used to be way back when I started in IT, for example, we used to prepare for disasters. We had disaster recovery plans, but it was kind of well, in the future, if this happens once in our lifetime type of thing. Now we realize that because of COVID, because of technology, because of AI, that change has been accelerated. According to Accenture, it's been accelerated by something like 200% just over the last 4 or 5 years versus maybe 8 to 10% per year in the years prior to that. So that is actually, as you mentioned, Greg, why resilient leadership is so important in terms of that adaptability, the flexibility, and being able to bounce back from any setbacks or any crisis disruptions that may occur, which might be more on a day-to-day or week-by-week basis versus once in a lifetime. So let's now turn over to each of the regions. So SKP, can you tell us a little bit more about the opportunities and challenges that the Africa region faces in terms of AI and crisis management?
All right. Thank you, Jenny, and thank you, Greg, for that overview. The truth is, like you rightly said, change, disruptions, and crisis has now become a reality that we deal with or that we have to deal with every day. And in Africa, at first, AI is steadily becoming an integral part of crisis management, change management. Although, yeah, we're still in the early stages as a continent, but AI is being used to localize projects such as early warning systems for natural disasters, like floods that you've seen in Mozambique, like the locust invasion predictions that you have in East Africa, and then with tools such as the IBM Watson that has been used for tracking diseases like the outbreak of Ebola, for instance, enabling quicker responses. Like you also mentioned, the timeline it's taken for us to develop vaccines for COVID was 2 years compared to 10 years. So we're seeing applications of that also in Africa, right? Looking at Ebola. And looking ahead at the future, I mean, there's so many areas in which AI, can be expanded. For instance, in monitoring natural disasters like droughts and desertification, which pose significant threats to food security, not only in Africa, but also all over the world, right? So AI could really play a crucial role in governance during crisis also by helping to optimize resource allocation and improving decision-making efficiently, especially in the political unstable regions. There are a lot of untapped opportunities, however, right? Most of these are in agriculture. AI could be used in predicting climate-related disruptions, right? Another area is also in health, right? There's so many applications of AI in health that, especially because of the poor health facilities you have in many nations, there's a lot of impact that AI can have in transforming this and looking at our large population, right? So those are, I mean, the challenges and also the opportunities in the future for Africa.
Great. Well, thank you so much, SKB. Let's take a look at Latin America now. It also faces some challenges and opportunities. Maru, can you tell us a little bit more about how Latin America is coping with that?
Yes, yeah, thank you. And it's so interesting because I think it's so common in Latin America. It's not deception. It's a beautiful place, a beautiful landscape, and navigates significant hurdles in digital infrastructure, data integration, and regulatory frameworks. For they select only these three important things. There are a lot of important efforts in order to transform the society, to reduce the digital gaps, but it's so difficult. According World Bank, internet access is limited, probably 44% in rural areas, compared with 74 little bit more than 70% in urban areas. And this is a great gap that remains, even that governments and companies are making important efforts in order to reduce that. For example, I am living in Querétaro. Querétaro is a medium-sized city in the center part of Mexico, and we have a lot of data centers. For example, Microsoft recently set in that region. And of course, there are a lot of advances. And at the same time, many people now don't have access to the internet. However, I think resilience is often emerged from diversity, and Latin America is not the exception. There are a lot of programs in Brazil, for example, AI for Good, or data science for all as initiatives in Mexico, in Latin America, in main cities. There are important programs, private, in some cases, social programs in other cases. And I think we could see some opportunities, important opportunities, to move ahead in with these changes, challenge. And I think now we have the opportunity to see differences with young people, and even with old people. For example, my mother is doing is trying to do a new business using AI, and I think it's depend of our attitude and the decision to learn more. And I think looking forward, our challenge and opportunities lie in accelerating these efforts, social and individual, in order to learn and to have more access to these great opportunities. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Maru. The Middle East region also shows a lot of potential. And I think one unique thing is a more dynamic population that embraces technology. Sarah, can you share some insights on how the Middle East region is leveraging AI?
Yeah. Sure, thank you, Jen. I guess the MENA region is experiencing a significant digital transformation, particularly in UAE, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. However, for unlocking the region potential, we still face a regulatory complexity, cultural diversity, and this is why we need resilience leadership, and it's very essential to do several keys strategy in order that they can overcome those challenges. Like, for example, localized leadership development. They need to understand the region specific and they need need help from the AI. AI can optimize, for example, the supply chain. This has been used by a Saudi Arabia company who, during the pandemic, used the supply chain, and the AI helped it in optimizing their process to provide timely deliverable for the people who are using their services. As well as, for example, the cross-region collaboration. So a UAE firm has already partnered with a startup in Egypt, though they can discuss and overcome during partnership on how to enhance the cybersecurity. So they are utilizing the AI to navigate the regularity challenges effectively together. So together we are making the change. The third thing is the mentorship. For example, you have to, here in Egypt, a lot of leaders in my bank, for example, we are still analyzing the gaps that we need to develop. And we have created, for example, academies for 5 tracks for people inside the bank. They can transform and they can have several roles, and for opening a transformative learning journey for them and open doors for everyone to learn more. Also the investment in innovation, because this is something that is very needed in order that you can excel or leverage as well. You need to have an innovative mindset. I guess in UAE, they developed a customized application that is based on the consumer spending patterns. So they are also getting benefit from the AI to enhance how they can benefit and how they can serve their clients better. The last thing is the risk management, because we have a lot of economics and fluctuation in prices. So those needs to be alerted and identified, and have some scenarios that you know that you need to do and prepared for ensuring stability and continuity. So leveraging AI can happen in several ways in the MENA region to navigate the complexity, foster collaboration, and drive innovation. And those approaches are unlocking the region potentiality. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. That's really fascinating how the Middle East region has been able to leverage AI. Let's now focus on Asia. As I mentioned, I'm originally from Taiwan, and one highlight is that the Asia region as a whole is in some ways a lot more advanced than the West, and that's due to natural disasters, and then being able to leverage AI and data to try to prevent those from happening in the future or mitigating some of the impacts. Also geopolitical tensions, and then the fact that the accelerated pace of change. So all of those factors influence the 4 use cases that I'll share with you today in Asia. The first one is that Japan has an early warning system for earthquakes. As you may recall, in the past, earthquakes devastated Japan. They have implemented AI to monitor and analyze data from all sources, satellite sensors, weather predictions, and patterns, to try to predict, if possible, or mitigate the impact of earthquakes and other natural disasters, so that they have a little bit more time to prepare and then evacuate or do other mitigating actions as needed. Now, the second use case is in Singapore. As we remember during COVID-19, the supply chain and the global disruption of the supply chain was a humongous factor. Just because you have a part that's manufactured in a different location, a different country, we all realize that's all tightly connected. For example, the shortage of cars during COVID-19 was actually not due to a shortage of steel. It was due to a shortage of computer chips. The average car has maybe 3,000 computer chips, as an example. So that was the reason why there was a shortage of cars. And as a whole, we realized that visibility into the supply chain and being able to manage that supply chain from end to end was a huge disruptor and a huge factor in what we need to improve going forward. So in Singapore, a shipping company has implemented AI to analyze data all across the board of their supply chain. So even things like trade disputes or other events, natural disasters, of course, political unrest. to be able to predict those supply chain risks and disruptions. And the third example is that in the Philippines, AI is used to monitor social media sentiment. So this is sentiment analysis that if we had to do manually, sure, you can have people, humans, monitor social media and be able to analyze that. Or you could have AI, which is what the Philippines has done, analyze social media postings and then create a sentiment analysis to target where there might be potential civil unrest and be proactive in deploying proactive measures to counteract that. And then finally, in Hong Kong, one source of crisis and disruption that we may not think about a lot, but has a huge impact is cybersecurity. And cybersecurity attacks in terms of malicious attacks or data breaches, which seems to unfortunately occur more and more, is very impactful across the board. And then it's also something that can be mitigated with AI. AI has been implemented, especially in this one use case in Hong Kong, to monitor network activity, to monitor patterns of requests, and then be able to proactively identify malicious attacks. So as you can see, in all cases, AI has that unique ability to monitor, analyze, and predict scenarios based on large amounts of structured and unstructured data, create that early warning system for all sorts of crises, as we discussed, from natural disasters, supply chain issues, civil unrest, and even cybersecurity. So let's now turn it over to SKB to discuss Europe, which also faces a large amount of disruptions and crises.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jenny. Now, Europe, as you mentioned, is facing a wide array of disruptions, from severe environmental to economic to political challenges. Now, let's talk about environmental crisis. Now, this is becoming more frequent. For instance, in Southern Europe, where you have the wildfires, the floods that you've had in Germany and in Belgium, and the ongoing threat of rising sea levels across Europe. So, I mean, significant environmental crisis. And a prime example or use case of how AI is helping to address this issue is the Copernicus Emergency Management Service, known as CEMS, right? Now, this AI-powered system uses satellite data to monitor disasters in real time, as seen during the 2021 floods in Germany and in Belgium. And what this does is to provide authorities with critical insights for timely evacuations, resource allocation, and helping to significantly reduce the damage, because sometimes, no, not sometimes, most times we are never as prepared as we should for some of this environmental crisis. Now, when we look at the economic era of the economic domain, right? Europe is in a transition, right? Especially with the push towards carbon neutrality under the Europe Green Deal. Now, this energy shift is causing significant supply chain disruptions. And this is, if you look at, the geographical tensions, especially like the war in Ukraine, we can say that AI has been instrumental in addressing these challenges. For instance, the AI's powered supply chain resilience tool, which helps to spotlight, right, and mitigate disruptions by optimizing logistics from one point to another, right? Also, we have AI-powered tools that help to move energy and medical supplies to where they are most needed most, as we've seen in the war in Ukraine. Now, the integration of AI in managing supply chain has a potential to stabilize the energy market during transitions, right, to help improve the economic shifts, especially during the transition time as we are in. Now, on the political front, instability is a key issue. Let's look at what's happening in Eastern Europe, Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, this conflict has caused widespread geopolitical and economic disruptions, from energy shortages, as you've seen, with increases in electricity costs in Europe, and moving to governance, cost, and also even public safety. But one use case of how AI is proving to, address this is a tool called Blue Dots, right? Which is literally like an AI health surveillance platform, which helped to provide early warnings about COVID-19 outbreak. Now, what it does is that it analyzes the vast amounts of data, and its predictive nature helps to now then show where the major concentrations are. So, I mean, Europe's economic, environmental, and political disruptions are complex, but there's a lot of hope with respect to the early AI tools that have been developed and more AI tools that can help, especially in disaster management, supply chain resilience, which is key for, economic development of Europe, as well as public safety.
Great. Well, thank you so much, SKV. That was a really good overview of how Europe is dealing with crisis and disruption, as well as the use of AI. Let's go ahead and go to North America now. Greg, would you like to share how AI is being used to proactively mitigate crisis in North America?
Yes, thank you. Um, in North America, both Canada and the United States, there's a great deal of use of AI related to natural disasters. This relates to both um, wildfires, those kinds of things where you can use AI to look at massive amounts of near real-time imagery to determine hotspots, areas where there may be flooding, other emergencies in the sense that you can then get resources to those locations in a rapid way. In particular, right now, there's a series of hurricanes that are hitting Florida. AI is a significant contributor right now to address those issues. There's uh, uh, a program called Maven that's being used. And what's interesting about that is that it's seeing the imagery and it's identifying areas with a great deal of stress that needs resources. But also uh, this uh, program is able to know where the resources are and what resources have the best routes, the best ways, and can get the information to the people on the ground as to who needs to go where and who's best suited to address those issues on the ground. And this is being developed in real time right now in Florida. So I think that was the timing of this is, it's a perfect subject for what's happening in North America, particularly in Florida right now. Um, Other things that are being used AI outside of that, um, in uh, I think maybe one of the more interesting ones that I came across was for dealing with homelessness in Los Angeles. And uh, what's interesting is that they're using AI to predict who may or may not be vulnerable to homelessness, who's most likely, and this AI is able to look at hundreds of different factors that may result in someone being homeless. And so what they do is they this AI will rate people on their potential. They look at their records that are available. They look at employment issues that could be affecting different people. And it's then communicated to social workers. Social workers can then use that and they can physically or in person connect with these people that are at risk and then provide resources to these folks with the goal of preventing them from becoming homeless. So again, I think a different realm from the hurricanes, et cetera, but being used in a very creative way in ways that can help prevent uh, issues from happening. And then that can make our government more efficient, help people before it becomes a problem for them. I think uh, I think the use of that also in both of these situations, it also uses social media, so it can tie into social media, not just the imagery that I mentioned, but they can see where there are issues. Where's the traffic going? Where are people traveling to? Where are they? What kind of purchases are they making? Those kinds of things. And and so all of that can be rolled into the use of AI in North America, and it's ongoing. And I guess again, I guess maybe a final thing is again with the hurricanes in Florida. This is ongoing, and they're implementing this now, and it's adjusting their models in real time going forward.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Greg. I really enjoyed hearing your perspective from that environmental background that you have as well. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the challenges now. We've reviewed how AI is being used to manage crisis and disruption in all of the regions. And then there are some common challenges of using AI. Maru, would you like to just briefly explain maybe a couple of the challenges that you think are common across the board in using AI?
Thank you. Yes, and for me it was a little bit difficult to identify two of them because there are a lot. But I would like to talk about two important challenges. One of them is related to data quality, and the other one related to ethical consideration. Talking about the first one, the technology and AI effectiveness is deeply tied to the quality and availability of data. Data can be often incomplete, inaccurate, or delayed. And it is a great problem in general, but more, even if you have a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of knowledge, if you don't have data, it's impossible to have a correct results. For instance, I think it's important to ensure data integrity and accessibility in order to have a real impact in our applications. Probably some sophisticated application of artificial intelligence, or even in the more simple processes, or in order to obtain a result, it's important to have data and all the implication that have in processes and all these things. The second point, I think it's crucial. Ethical consideration presents a substantial challenge. AI system could perpetuate existing biases in the data because these systems are trained with some data, and leading a potential discriminatory or error crisis in some cases. For example, if some models are not well designed, can exacerbate in some errors, some inequities, and I think it is important. The systems could be so powerful, but it's important to define some rules, governments, companies, and even at a personal level. I think it's important to define this kind of frameworks in which people could have orientation, and at the same time some prevention of bad application of these important systems. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, Maru. And before we go to the advantages, I wanted to give SKB a chance to give us a call to action. I know you have some time constraints, but SKB, what can we do as leaders? Would you mind highlighting some of those things that we can do to act upon those immediately?
All right. So yeah, as leaders, especially in the pace of change that the world is, just changing right now, is what's most important is that we use AI not only as a tool for efficiency, but as a strategic enabler of resilient leadership, right? And there are four key areas that I think we can focus on. Firstly, and most importantly, embracing data-driven decision making, right? And this is where AI is most useful, right? AI excels at analyzing vast amounts of information quickly, uncovering patterns and insights that may not be immediately apparent to you. So, how can you think of how you can use AI to analyze data fast, but more importantly, use the analysis and the insights you get from that data to make decisions, right? Secondly, as leaders of organization, is for us to develop and build a learning and an adaptive organization, right? The quality or the extent to which an organization can innovate is directly proportional to how fast its people can learn, right? You need to build a learning organization and an adaptive organization, not only responding or reacting to crisis, but also in championing, being future forward, right? Creating scenario planning and coming up with options, right, to address various scenarios that can play out in the future. So being a learning and an adaptive organization is important. Thirdly is an ethical approach to AI, right? There's still a lot of debate around regulation, around the ethical use of AI, but as leaders, it's up to us to focus on a circle of control and ensure that there's ethical use and deployment of AI by our people and by the organizations that we lead. And lastly, and the most important thing is constantly investing in upskilling your teams. The outputs of your team or your organization is directly linked with the input. How are they learning? What are they learning, right? So you need to, beyond just, telling them to be, to constantly learn, you need as leaders to ensure that the organization invests in the upskilling of these people. And there's so many things, but these are like four critical things that I think as leaders we can begin to focus on in building resilient leadership.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, SKB. I think what you mentioned is really important in embracing AI and technology, investing in upskilling. One statistic I came across was your skills, your job skills will be changing by something like 65% by 2030. That's only 5 years from now. So that's actually what you're mentioning as well, is embrace that continuously learning and growth, as well as investing in upskilling. And then I think finally, you mentioned something really important, which is AI might provide us with data, information. It's up to all of us as leaders to utilize that data information and translate that into actions as well for our teams, our organizations, and then all across our regions as well. So thank you so much, SKB. I know you might have some time constraints, but we appreciate you sharing all of that great information with us this morning. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the advantages. Sarah, can you tell us about some of the advantages that are common with utilizing AI? Would you like to share that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I guess this is very important question because we are shedding light here on how this can optimize our life and how we can use it for a good purposes. And everyone here gave a lot of example supporting purposes in life, even like how to overcome several crises over the universe. So this is very important here. I guess we already talked about how we can use a predictive analytics and early warning system in order that we can analyze a good data set of data to overcome what Maru have mentioned, that we can use a lot of data or a data that is not correct enough. But if we are using wisely the data set and we are analyzing the potential threats before it escalates, this is how can help the leader to proactively plan the scenarios and act accordingly and creating a contingency strategy. Also, we can use it for real-time monitoring understanding, and then the situation awareness. And this is enabling leader to make informed decision using AI for sure that can analyze real-time situation in data and offer actionable recommendation during a fast-moving crisis. The next thing is how we can automate the response and coordinate. So AI can optimize the insurance of the response that are well coordinated by who can do this and how they can do it effectively and fast enough, and then create communication tools that can streamline the information and keep the stakeholder informed in a timely manner and accurate updates for sure. Also, the communication for the public is very important. The AI can help leader in identifying the concerns in the public and how they can craft the communication that would resonate with the public and can tailor their message to address the community and maintain trust for the public. The last thing that we are all aiming for is the continuous learning, because if we are not doing this continuously and we are not learning and adapting, then there is no need for using anything new. So analyzing the response is very important, yes, but we need to improve how we are using it and how we are adapting and continuously ensuring that the leader are equipped with the latest knowledge and the tools that they use to face the challenges. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. I think one thing that you mentioned is very important, which is the ability for AI to manage and analyze structured as well as unstructured data. So I've been in IT for a long time, and I've implemented many digital and business transformations. And it used to be that we spent a lot of time structuring the data, as in migrating all of the data, putting it together in a common format and common tables, before we can actually do the analysis, before we can actually generate reports. Now we don't have to do that. AI can actually take unstructured data and be able to analyze that. So I think that's very important in terms of what you mentioned. And I think the other thing that is very important is all of that takes human leadership. Human intelligence. It's not just about artificial intelligence. It actually is about human intelligence and leadership in terms of enabling those advantages for us going forward. So with that, I think we've covered off on all of the regions. We covered off on some of the common elements, the advantages and challenges. And then SKB, before she had to leave, also covered off on the call to action as well. So let's just take maybe a few minutes to reflect on our experience writing this article and just share any other tidbits or insights that you would like. We could start off with Greg, if you don't mind, just sharing any experiences that you have writing this article or any tidbits that you like to highlight.
Thanks. Yeah, I think number one, it was great to work with this team. It was a challenge, I think, and fun to collaborate with everyone. I would say that one of the things that really stood out for me after writing this is I'm so much even more aware of AI. It's like I'm listening to the radio, AI, boom, my whole mind hears it. I'm focused. I'm like, oh wow, I doing this research and helping with this paper really increased my awareness of how it's changing so rapidly and is being used across the board.
Agreed. Well, thank you, Greg. And I definitely agree with you. One of the experiences of writing this paper is basically doing what we're preaching. We're saying do continuous learning, do improvement. That actually is a forcing function on ourselves almost to do that continuous learning and improvement by writing this article. So I definitely agree with you, Greg. Maroon, would you like to share any insights or tidbits about your experience writing this paper?
Yes, well, I'm astonished about the artificial intelligence capacity, but at the same time, I want to maintain my awareness about the collaboration. The collaboration itself, the process was incredible for me. It's incredible now. We are talking about this. We are sharing experiences, challenges, and even that our regions are totally different. we have points of contact, and it's amazing. I am so happy to be here with you, sharing our hopeness. I think there are a lot of things to do, and it's better to do it together. Thank you.
Yes, I agree, Maru. It's great to do it together versus just be on our own. I think sharing that information and knowledge, and then for me, learning what is happening in each of the regions, that was invaluable. So thank you, Maru. Sarah, would you like to share what your experience in writing this paper has been?
Yeah, sure. I guess the whole process was deeply engaging, and we have heard a lot of different organization and a lot of different regions how successfully they implemented the AI technology and used it for good reason. And also, as you said, Jen, the focus on the human aspect, it's like was enlightening as well how it balances between the role of empathetic and adaptive leader, as well as how AI can help them to be more empathetic and more ahead and adaptive of any crisis that would happen. So this was a very collaborative, engaged process, and it for me it was a journey of discovery because I discovered a lot of information and I discovered a good reason for using every new technology, and it fostered resilience in the organization. So thank you for this opportunity and for hearing from all of you today, Ida.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Sarah, for contributing to this team. And as the mentor for this paper, what I wanted to share is my personal experience. So if I were to sum up my experience in one word, it would be energizing. So I work with global teams on projects and organizations and all of that, but this was actually very different in that I learned a lot from each of you and what was happening in not only each of the regions, but actually how do we take this forward in terms of the call to action and then how to make it better for everybody, because we dispelled some myths about AI. AI is not new, it's been around. This is about applied AI, not generative AI. And we're really at the beginning stages of utilizing AI to its fullest potential. One statistic that I heard is that if you were to measure the IQ of AI today, it might be around 155, which is approximately what Elon Musk's IQ is. So that's approximately the level, but it's actually learning and doubling every year or less, so that you can imagine in the future what its IQ might be. So we are at the very beginning stages of this in terms of leveraging, embracing, and then using it to amplify our human leadership, resiliency, and other skills that we bring to the table. And it's really important that we do bring those resiliency and leadership skills to the table, because at the end of the day, AI is a tool, it's a very smart tool, but we have to be able to ask the right questions in order to elicit the right responses in order to help our organizations go forward with the right approach and the right decisions. So my one word is energizing. And I'd like to hear from the team. Do you have any phrases, words, or sentences that you would like to share about AI or this experience in general before we close? Maybe we can start off with, if you don't mind, Sarah, and we'll go in reverse order this time.
Okay, so for me, if it is one word, it's collaboration, because yeah, AI is uncovering the superpower of resilience leadership, but we did it in a collaborative way. So this is how we are uncovering and discovering talents and potential for leveraging AI with everything. So it's collaborative for me. Thank you.
Great. Maru, would you like to share?
Well, empowering for me, I think it's a great opportunity to empower ourselves, our communities, our regions to be better. I hope our humanity kind of being here, facing a new technology, a new era, it will be a better way to be here in that world. Thank you.
Great. And Greg?
The phrase I came up with was resilient growth. That's my phrase.
Okay. Fantastic. I like it. Resilient growth. I heard collaboration and being able to really take this to the next level, I think, at the end of the day. So with that, let me turn it back over to Priya and Celia to close out the meeting.
Thank you, Jen, and that was a wonderful discussion. And I'm getting very good comments also on how we have stuck to the topic and not gone all over the place. Usually, people will only talk about generic AI, but here we have heard specific examples from the region that made this discussion so unique. So, with this, I will I will call over Grace Johnson to hand over these certificates to you. Grace, are you there? Are you able to see my screen? Wrong screen, is it?
Yeah, good. I was having technical difficulties. My apologies.
Yeah.
It was a really insightful discussion. I mean, a lot to the analysis and all. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for giving us your time, sharing your knowledge, your experience, and all of your learning with us. The world, I would say, thank you very much. It's really been an insightful discussion. So it's a privilege. With appreciation, we're handing over the certificate to Greg Dubias for, giving us your time, your knowledge, and all of your learnings to this topic. Thank you very much. We'll be handing over this to Oluwaseyi Kehinde Peters. Thank you. The conversation was really insightful. Thank you for introducing us to new tools. I really heard you on that. Thank you to Maru Gonzalez. Thank you for sharing your time, your expertise, your knowledge with us. It's really been an engaging time. Yeah. Also, Sarah El Hagagi. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge, experience with us and your time. Thank you to Jen L. Sprabak. Yeah, I've been seeing your comms and I know it's in. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for, yeah, we really appreciate. I've been seeing your emails, your discussions, your meetings. I'm sorry I wasn't able to join, but it was really insightful joining today. Thank you so much. Back to you, Priya.
Yeah, and with this, I would like to call upon Cecilia to share her experience as a reviewer of this article. And what do you think, Cecilia?
Thank you, Priya. In first place, congratulations to all the co-authors, to the moderator, to the panelists. It was a great article and a great discussion today. I learned a lot. I learned a lot reading and reviewing the article and also listening you all today. It was a great discussion, and I want to highlight what I heard here. Shen was all of you were talking about AI as a tool. And we need to remember AI is just a tool. We have to use that tool. We have to manage that tool to empower our human intelligence. So I think it's good that aspect to highlight, because we are who manage the tool, the AI. We don't have to forget that. And congratulations and thank you, Priya.
Thank you, Cecilia. And with this, we come to the end of this event. And before you go off, please do take the poll and let us know what you think about the event. The link is again on the chat window, and let me share my screen again if you are able to see. Have I stopped sharing, Cecilia? I think so. All right. So yes, please do take the poll and let us know what you think about the event. I already see a few comments coming in, and thank you very much for those comments. Please keep sharing your feedback so that we know what you would like to hear and how we can improve further. And with this, we wrap up this event. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Excellent insights, panelists, and great moderation, Jen. Before you go, please We'll stop the recording now, Celia. We will take a group picture before we go.